Greetings, this is Unit 5, Module 3, Session 2. The name of this home connection is Area and Perimeter Review. It's 2 pages. Name and number, please. So as you can probably guess, we're going to be talking about area and perimeter. But let's review real quick. We know that area is would be similar to if you were going to cover a shape in squares, right? To do that, we would figure out the height. We would also find the length, multiply those two, height times the length, okay? Perimeter, right, we're going to be doing distance around, adding up all of the sides, okay? So it says, Hector says you have to measure the length of every side of this square to find its perimeter. Do you agree with him? Why or why not? Explain your answer. And it doesn't matter what you have for each side. Let's come up with a number. Let's say that each is 5 units of some sort from here to here. Okay? Hector says you have to measure the length of every side of this square. True? I don't think so. I think we only have to measure the length of one side of the square. Why is that? Well, the rule for squares is that all sides are congruent, which we can often do with this sort of a mark right here. That indicates that they're all the same length. So you only need to measure one side because all sides are equal. So you're going to probably disagree for the reasons that we just said. Make sure you explain that in your words. In my words, I like to say something along the lines of, you only need to measure one side because all 4 sides of a square are the same. Or if you want to use the fancy word, congruent, then you can put your math hat on, right? Which equation shows how to find the perimeter of this rectangle? I have a 3, I have an 8. Let's go ahead and fill in the rest just so we know. Opposite sides on a rectangle have to be the same, so we know that's going to be 3 feet. Opposite side, 8 feet. So what do we have? We know that 8 plus 8 is 16. 3 plus 3 is 6. 16 plus 6 should be 22, right? So we know that options-wise, there's really only one that has the right answer, but is the equation right? 2 times 3, 2 times 8. Well, that's weird because normally when you think perimeter, you might think, well, let's say 3 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8, right? Because I add 3 plus 8 plus 3 plus 8. 3, 8, 3, 8. You do get 22 still. But what did they do here? And I just want to point this out because of how important it is. How many times did I count 3? I counted 3 2 times. How many times did I count 8? Well, I did 8 twice, right? So I did 8 2 times. So 3 times 2 and 8 times 2, when you add them together, you do get 22. So you can use multiplication in your solution to find perimeter as long as you make sure you're doubling the numbers that you have 2 of. Okay? Mr. Hunter is trying to find the distance from one end of his whiteboard to the other. Mr. Hunter is measuring the what? So he wants to find the distance from this side to this side. Is he doing the area, the length, or the perimeter? So we know that area is height times length. Well, this is just one dimension, right? We know that length would be like, you could think of maybe how wide something is. And the whiteboard's perimeter would be adding all dimensions. So I'm going to let you decide. He was trying to figure out how to get from here to here. That's it. What is he measuring? Area, length, perimeter. Make sure you pause this video at any point in time. You can always work ahead, or if you think I'm going too fast, you can pause me so you can catch up, okay? Which of these situations is about perimeter? So once again, trying to add up all the sides, okay? That's kind of when I think perimeter, I think the distance around an object, okay? Determining the number of tiles needed to cover a floor. So that would be like how many square tiles fit on a floor. This is just how my brain is picturing this right now. And it's not a great picture, but so trying to cover a floor. Okay, we're trying to cover an area of floor. Oh, covering an area of floor. Ooh. Determining how many feet of fencing is needed to surround a backyard. So maybe I have these are my fence posts or something like that, and I'm trying to figure out how much fence do I need to go around my backyard. Determining the width of a table. So maybe this is my table, here are my legs, and I'm trying to figure out how wide it is from here to here. So perimeter is the distance around. Did we go around any of these? I'm going to let you decide. Beckett and his mom are going to paint the living room. They need to measure the room so they know how much paint to buy. They should measure the wall in square centimeters. Just to put this in perspective, I've got my handy-dandy ruler here. Just want to give you an accurate measurement here. This appears to be, that is a square centimeter. And there's my finger. My finger is bigger than a square centimeter. A square foot, which would be, I'm going to have to back this out. Here's my ruler. And in fact, I could probably do this with a few rulers. So let me do ones that all look the same. Can I back up even further? No, not really. I guess I can raise this up just a little bit. But this here would be a square foot. Ooh, you can't even see the bottom of that ruler. Let's see if I can go even higher. Here we go. So this is a square foot. It's a good size, right? It's way bigger than this, well, not way bigger, but it's bigger than this sheet of paper. So it's 12 inches high, 12 inches across. This is a square foot right here, which is kind of fun, okay? Square inches is your next option. This is when I'm going to come back to the paper. Hello! Square inches. I'm going to use this fun ruler just because. I guess I could have probably done this in advance, but now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't like wasting too much of your time, but I also like to be able to see these things. Seeing in math is so helpful. So this would be a square centimeter, and this is a square inch. Okay, just so you're aware. Square inch, my finger is not bigger than a square inch, but my thumb is kind of close. Okay, and then square mile, well, I can't back my camera up large enough, but if you can imagine, it takes about, if you're driving 60 miles per hour, right, it takes about a minute to drive a mile. That's quite a long ways. 5,280 feet is 1 mile. A square mile would be 5,280 feet tall by 5,280 feet wide. So a square mile is huge. You're going to paint a living room. You're going to buy paint. Do you want to buy paint? If you're going to cover, let's say, 4 walls of a living room, maybe your room is something like, and this is like maybe a top down, okay? So maybe like here's your front door, here's a little table, here's the refrigerator. I don't know. I guess it's a living room. Maybe there's a TV right here. I don't know. But maybe you've got like 30 feet and 30 feet and 30 feet. This is a square room, and 30 feet, I guess. So do you want to buy paint in square inches to try to cover? I mean, you're going to need hundreds of thousands of square inches. Square centimeters, and you're going to need almost 4 times that, right? Or maybe do you want to measure it in square feet or miles, right? Honestly, I'm thinking square feet's going to be your best bet, because that's probably the closest unit you can have where you'll have, a lot of square feet, but not so many like in centimeters. That's ridiculous. Inches, that's ridiculous. And then you won't even need a square mile of paint. You're going to need like 0.000 something something square miles of paint. That's kind of ridiculous. Okay, might be a lengthy explanation, but it's nice to be able to see it and think about it. Okay, this rectangle has an area of 45 square feet. So I've got 5 feet in my height, and my length is missing. But I know that it's 45 square feet. So we have to figure out, how did we get 45? So we know that height times length equals area. So I have, 5 times something equals 45. I could rework it to say 45 divided by 5 is this number, right? Because we can change a multiplication problem into a division problem by putting the answer first. Okay, I just flip-flopped it around. What would that be? 45 divided by 5. How many 5s fit in 45? And if you're not sure, you could count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. There's my multiplication table there. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times 5 is 45. This should be a 9 here. So our missing measurement is 9 feet. I guess I didn't mean to do all of that problem with you, but I did. So that's a bonus, I guess. Tom wants to find the area of his school's basketball court. Which formula should he use? Area. I'm thinking covering something in squares, right? That's how I find area. So in my brain, whenever I see area, I think covering it in squares, and I'm going to take, the height times the length. Okay? So we have, or, we could even call the height, we could even call, if you want to, we could say this is length and width, which is fine too. Length plus width, length times width, length minus width, 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. Oh, that one's perimeter. That's not helpful. Ooh, I'm going to let you choose. Alexandra and her dad built a deck in their backyard. It had an area of 48 square feet and a perimeter of 28 feet. Circle the drawing that shows the deck they built. Use numbers, labels, sketches, and words to explain your answer. Perimeter of 28. So distance, once again, I kind of think of this. Distance around is 28 feet. The area, kind of I'm thinking of the squares, right? Length times width. Just in my brain, that's what I think. How many squares would fit inside when I think of area, okay? So, what do we think? I'm going to say if we could start with perimeter first, because I feel pretty good about this. So if I do 8 and 8, 6 and 6. Well, that's 16 plus 12. Well, that is 28. Okay, that checks out. 5 and 5, 9 and 9. So that's 18 plus 10. That's also 28 perimeter. 4 and 4 is 8. 12 and 12 is 24. 8 plus 24. Uh-oh. That one does not work out. So we can automatically count that one out because its perimeter is more than 28. So let's work with these. How do I figure out which one of these is correct? I just checked perimeter, so I can forget about that. So I can move on to area. So the length times the width needs to equal, what did we say? 48. So the length times the width needs to be 48. 6 times 8 is 48. So that would be square feet. 9 times 5 is 45 square feet. Sorry that my handwriting's so bad. My hands are a little cold. So 48, 45. Nah, not that one. Okay, so we use process of elimination to figure out which one was correct. I did start perimeter by adding up all the sides to figure out which ones were 28, and then we checked the last two by multiplying the length times the width. Right? That is our area formula. Okay? Thanks for tuning into this video. Rewatch it, pause it, watch just the parts that you want. It's up to you. Ask someone for help. We love to help you if you have questions. Check you later.